Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Well, good afternoon. I'm Darcy Friedman. I'm the director of the Marianne Swetland Center for Environmental Health at Case Western Reserve University and the co-lead of the Nourishing Neighborhoods Empowering Community Study, affectionately called Nourishing Power Study by our team. Thank you for joining us today for this informational session focused on the Nourishing Power Advisory Council. We will be recording our session today and we'll be posting the recording to our website. We will send an announcement later this week letting you know when the recording is available on our website. And we ask you to spread the word when we post it. I'm pleased to be joined by two other team members, including Rachel Summer and India Gill, and you'll hear more from them later in the session. Feel free to type in the chat your name and organization or affiliation so we can get a better sense of who is joining us today. So our aim over the next 30 minutes is to clarify the goals and application process for the Nourishing Power Advisory Council. We will begin by reviewing what is the Nourishing Power Network, and then we'll go into the details of the Advisory Council, including who it's for, what are the benefits, activities of the Advisory Council, and schedule of events. We'll end by reviewing the application process and opening the floor for discussion. The session is designed to end at 12:30, and our team will stay on until 1 p.m. for anyone who has lingering questions. Feel free to put your question in the chat as we're going, so you don't forget as we go, and we'll come to those during the end of our time today. So let's start off by briefly reviewing the Nourishing Power Network. And as many of you know, this is a new initiative that launched last week. Today is the first chance we've had to speak to a larger group about this exciting collaboration. So we're really happy to be here today. Let me quickly walk through this flyer by highlighting three main points about the Nourishing Power Network that seeks to work together to root and grow a local food system that works for all. First, this is a community action-oriented research study. We are testing ways to transform food systems by bridging community power with organizational power to spark and expand food justice initiatives led by the community. And you can see that part is underlined. That's really important to this project. Over the next 3 years, we hope to learn together through the network. And the questions guiding our work include, if we cultivate welcoming spaces for community building, will it spark and expand food justice in Greater Cleveland? And if we support community-led action with financial and technical resources, will it tip the food system to fairness? And if we root and grow community ownership of local food systems, will it promote equity, vibrancy, and holistic health? Second, this network is just forming and will be shaped in collaboration with you and others committed to making a local food system that works for all. Just to be clear, we are forming the network as we go, and we are really excited to engage others in this process. There are 4 ways to engage with the network based on your interests, experiences, and capacity. These include the Nourishing Power Advisory Council, which you're going to be hearing more about in just a minute. It is the first component to launch as a part of the network. The 3 other components include the Food Systems Change Fellowship. The application for the fellowship will release in mid-August. The Nutrition Equity Fund, which will launch in spring of 2023. And then the 4th component is the Nourishing Power Networking. Our first networking event will take place on August 31st at the Riddall Green Partnership. Members of the Nourishing Power Advisory Council will help shape and implement these components of the network. The third point that I'd like to make today is to highlight the co-leads of the Nourishing Power Network. This is a partnership between the Sweatland Center at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, Neighborhood Connections, and the FAIR Project. Tom O'Brien from Neighborhood Connections and Morgan Taggart from the FAIR Project are co-leads of the study. You can scan this barcode to learn more about the initiative, and a link will be placed in the chat to access our project website. Now I'm going to turn it over to Rachel and India.
Thank you, Darcy. Darcy provided a nice background of the Nourishing Power Network, but I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into one of those components, and that is the Nourishing Power Advisory Council. So many of you may have already seen this flyer about the Advisory Council. You can actually navigate to that by accessing our website, which I believe the link was just put in the chat. And if you go to the left-hand side of the webpage, you'll see a sidebar where you can access different components of the network. So there should be a space there for you to click on the Advisory Council, but I'm going to actually walk us through this flyer and the role of the Advisory Council overall. So the main goals of the Advisory Council are to co-lead the Nourishing Power Network, to increase community ownership of local food justice initiatives, to share in decision-making for all aspects of the network. And that includes the Food Systems Change Fellowship, the Nutrition Equity Fund, and quarterly networking events. And lastly, create and sustain space for community-driven efforts that lead to a vibrant, engaged, and fair food system, resulting in holistic health for people and communities. So we want to describe who this opportunity is for. The folks that we're looking for on the Advisory Council need to have experience in community building, diverse leadership experiences, experience in applying for grants, or interest in supporting the next generation of food justice leaders. That would be the fellows in the fellowship. To have a desire to transform food systems through collaboration and an interest in professional advancement. So when we say experiences in food systems, what we're talking about are things like food policy, pantries, school nutrition, community gardens, food as medicine, food retail, and entrepreneurship. I'm sure there's even a couple more we forgot in that list, but just to give some examples, or even related sectors such as housing, education, social services, health, among others. And we are focused on communities unfairly burdened by the food system problems that exist. So in the first year of this study, the Advisory Council members are expected to be individuals who live or work or have some connection to 5 cities in Cuyahoga County. And these cities were selected because they have the highest rates of food insecurity locally. So these include Cleveland, East Cleveland, Euclid, Garfield Heights, and Cleveland Heights. I do want to mention that we will be adding 4 additional cities in the following year of this study, and those will include Warrensville Heights, Maple Heights, Richmond Heights, and Bedford Heights. So like Darcy said, we really encourage you to spread the word about not just the Advisory Council, but the entire Nourishing Power Network, especially if you have connections in any of these cities, because there's going to be opportunities for many to engage. So regarding the benefits and logistics of the Advisory Council, it is a 12-month cohort that will start in September 2022 and end in September 2023. We will be selecting up to 10 people for the 2022-23 cohort with the goal of recruiting a second cohort in mid-2023. Those who participate will receive a $2,000 honorarium, which is paid in quarterly installments. Some of the skills that will be gained throughout this time would be written and oral storytelling to influence change. So this could be something more formal, like co-authoring a paper, manuscript, an op-ed, or a data brief, or it could be something more unique and creative, such as actual storytelling or poetry or something, to be determined. But we want to really emphasize that storytelling looks a lot of different ways. We also, the members of the Advisory Council will also have an opportunity to select and award nutrition equity grants, including developing a proposal review process, developing effective networking and mentorship techniques, data-driven decision-making, and developing technical assistance workshops to support food systems leaders. So I'm actually going to turn things over to India, who's going to talk about the activities that the Nourishing Power Advisory Council will be participating in.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So you might be asking, well, what will the advisory council do to improve local food systems? And so this is not necessarily a full list, but here are a few actions that we're including. So it would be co-creating spaces for relationship building and networking with people committed to mobilizing community action for food justice, developing and sharing stories to influence community ownership of food systems change, creating approaches to engage and support change makers new to the food system space, and designing and implementing a funding mechanism, for example, the Nutrition Equity Fund, for collaborative and creative food systems projects led by the community. And then what activities will members participate in each month? So there will be about 6 hours per month of commitment to guide the strategic actions on the Nourishing Power Network. And these include attendance at 5 full advisory council meetings, serving in 1 working group that would either be the Food Systems Change Fellowship or the Nutrition Equity Fund, attendance at professional development sessions, engagement in networking events, and also participation in evaluation interviews 3 times over the course of the study, and that's at the beginning, the middle, and end of the experience. And so the applications are open until July 31st at 5 p.m. and interviews with select applicants will happen on August the 5th, the 9th, and the 10th. And then the final cohort of the advisory council will be announced on August 29th. And this is really important. So people of color are highly encouraged to apply, and we're also encouraging participation from those focused on connections between food justice and health of children, youth, and families. That's the theme for the 2022 through 2023 Food Systems Change Fellowship. And it would be great if someone could put the advisory council application in the chat right now. Thank you.
Abby's going to add that for us.
Thank you. And so here are the questions that are required on the application. We just wanted to give you this up front. So please note that you cannot save your application and return later to complete. So we recommend that you actually draft your responses to the questions offline, and then you can come back and paste your responses into the form. So just briefly go over what those questions are. What motivates you to join the Nourishing Power Advisory Council? Describe your experience with community building or collaboration in the food system or related sectors. What prior leadership experience do you have working for food systems change? For example, food policy, food pantries, school nutrition, community gardens, food as medicine, food retail, or entrepreneurship. And if you could please describe your leadership role for those. 4, describe any prior experiences, formal or informal, that you've had with growing leadership capacity. That could include mentorship or training or relationship building. Then 5, what prior experiences have you had with grant applications? 6, what networks and communities related to your food systems work are you currently connected to? And would then ask you to please describe those specific groups. And then 7, what people, groups, and or resources do you want to connect to in order to transform food systems by bridging community power with organizational power to spark and expand food justice initiatives led by the community? So we just wanted to give you a heads up on those kinds of questions. So what is the right fit for you? So there are different opportunities based on your experience and capacity. So the advisory council is for more experienced food system leaders and would guide the fellowship and the fund. And then the Nutrition Equity Fund is for people who have a food systems change plan that's ready to go and they're looking for funding. Then the Food Systems Change Fellowship is for people with new ideas who are looking to develop them further. And because we want to engage as many people as possible, members of the Advisory Council will not be eligible to participate in the fellowship and receive funding from the Nutrition Equity during the same term and the Advisory Council. However, anyone and everyone is encouraged to participate in the networking events over the course of the project. And so, and as we're coming towards the end of our presentation, here's just a quick snapshot again of the flyer. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to walk through our entire flyer with you. And please let us know if you have any questions. Now we're going to go ahead and open it up. And as a reminder, we will be posting this recording online and we will send an email with a link to the recording, but just let us know if you have any questions.
And I'm going to stop sharing so that